packages.
Wow.
That's how I got a
I
self-driving car. It's a long
first
story,
I
but
it's a long story, and I have to tell you this. After doing all of that, going back to university, I can so relate to that. For me, like I would go to back to university each day because you always learn more and more, and then you say, okay, I want to learn something like really deeply, and then
yeah.
it's like a very good
That's
place
why
to
it's so
start,
important because the
right?
world changes, right? It's always changing, and so we've got to realize this. Like, 10 years before, 10 years ago, who knew that one of the biggest industries would be social media and apps, right? Um,
Nobody.
so as the world changes, I think it's important we change ourselves, and so that's what I did. Is I just updated myself based on where I thought the world would be going, and so we
Yeah.
started doing self-driving cars.
Yeah. And like this company probably is aware that there are so many other competition around you. So what was the first thing that you said we're going to be better in compared to all these big truck and vehicles around us, companies, Elon Musk, Google, they're all talking about it. So why did you say like this is the thing that will make our part better?
So I've never looked at it as this one's better, this one's worse. We saw a very clear gap that this is not being solved by anybody, and we thought of the best way we could solve it. We've got many competitors, but we don't really stop and think about what they're doing too much. I suppose the thing to remember is all the large companies we know of, Google, Tesla, Uber, who else? Apple. A lot of these started in some garage somewhere or some university dorm room. And how is that different to us? Same thing, in university dorm room. I sketched an idea, sketched a car, and went to my professor. I said, I want to do this in 2 years. I said, you do realize we do it now? I said, wait, yes, oh my gosh, we do it now. Um, so yeah, that's how we started. We weren't really thinking too much about what everyone else thinks. But the thing that does make us unique, though, is this: the university that I went to is known for its vision system for the Mars rover. Um, these are the people that help what I call the coolest self-driving car off planet to be able to see on an alien planet where there's no roads, no markings.
Yeah.
So we went to university in Wales, which is a rural area. There's no markings. There's no. So we need to try and make a car drive itself in that environment. And so I suppose that's what you could say makes us different to the others. But we don't really focus what the others are doing too much. Focus on what we're doing, where we're going, and we solve that problem. Because it's about solving the biggest problem felt by the highest number of people, and we had the skill and the motivation to do so.
Yeah, the last mile problem. That's what you're
Yes,
saying.
precisely.
Well,
Yes.
so
Yeah. So I mean, so our implementation is the last mile problem. But there is something that happens when you make a self-driving car. When you make a self-driving car, it's a field of advanced robotics and artificial intelligence. So a self-driving car needs a vision system and ability to see.
right.
So whilst it's logistics, that ability to see can be transferred to so many other industries, which will be another multi-billion pound industry. For example, we're working with a company called Eurovia on how we make our vision system be able to help them see the damage on the road as the car's driving and predict where the damage is going next. We can actually tell the depth of these potholes. It's a standard feature our self-driving cars can do, but it's transferable.
Yeah.
The car moving from A to B is also transferable to a farm machine, to a local school run, to maybe even a robot. So
Yeah.
we started logistics. That's sort of the killer app for now, but this likely will expand to the other industries where we're solving the problem at the same time.
So you're taking your capabilities and you're trying to think what are there problems they could solve with these capabilities that you already acquired to do only
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, that's why we call it a Kario Robotics and not specifically Cargo yet, because we are a robotics and innovation company first. And Cargo is our flagship product. But don't be surprised, there being offshoots of what our technology does being used in other industries.
Yeah. Like most people, when they're thinking about robotics, I guess that maybe Boston Robotics will be the first thing that comes to their mind. I don't know if their PR is so good or they are so good.
Oh, the robots are
I don't.
cool. Yeah, the robots are very cool. That's right.
So, do you get this question like people are asking you what you're doing compared to that? Is it going to be similar to that? Are you going to replace people and humans in doing other things? How do you relate to that?
No, yeah, that's a great answer. So we never actually get compared to Boston Dynamics too much. Um, because we don't tend to do humanoid robots. But on the subject of labor, something really important, we don't actually make robots to replace jobs or people at all. So we try to solve the biggest problem felt by the highest number of people. And what we mean by this is there are many places where it's actually better to have a robot to do it. It just is, because it might be tedious, for example, in the working with the Royal Air Force, for example, where on a really large military base, you've got so many things happening, and people are trained for. These are very smart professionals who've been trained for ages, and sometimes there's a quick job to run to drive something across an airbase, and there's something else they can do. Rather just send a robot to do it while they do something they're trained on, which requires human intellect. So
Yeah.
they're not, I wouldn't say mundane tasks, but they're tasks where it's just more efficient to send a robot.
Yeah.
And so